Good evening. Or actually, it's just early afternoon, isn't it? Good early afternoon to all. I am here to ask a question. Do you feel like, um, hold on, let me get to the right spot. I wasn't completely ready. There we go. All right. I wasn't completely ready to start talking and going live, but I'm in a bit of a hurry to try to give you guys some good content because our earlier live went off the rails horribly, but it was fun for our friends because we were just chit chatting. So I decided to make that a members only. So here we are, and I'm asking this question. I'm a believer. I would be willing to say that empirical research definitely supports the notion that the best predictor of future performance is past behavior. Correct? That typically, if we want to take the artsy, literal type of work to guide us, Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who they are, hey, Janet Smith, great to see you. Thank you for being here. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that actually goes hand in hand with the best predictor of future performance is past behavior. And here's the idea that people do something, they're showing you what they're like. Don't reinvent them in your imagination to be better people than they actually are. You know what they do, you know how they act, you can guess how they respond based on what they've previously done. Human being, we don't like to change behavior. We are creatures of habit. And behavior change actually comes at a really, really high cost of time and attention. It takes a lot of work having a good plan, knowing what the target behavior is, to follow these steps and do them methodically until they become a new good habit. So behavior change, it doesn't just happen spontaneously. We are who we are, who we are, who we are. Yeah? So asking ourselves this question, people that are potential, people that may have engaged in potentially criminal behavior, maybe immoral or unethical behavior. Um, we can't just wish them into being good people. We can't just sit around and say, "Oh, I really like that conversation I had with them. I sure hope they turn out to be good people." You know what I mean? They just look like good people. Good people are revealed through actions. Good people are not revealed through the size of their bank account, the square footage of their home, or even how beautiful they are in physical appearance. Good people are revealed through their acts of service, the way they treat other human beings. And so I do think, in a very odd, peculiar case like the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, I think this is a really, really re- legitimate question to ask. And I hope that the police officers are asking themselves this question. Have Katie and Christopher Proudfoot, in the past almost a year, 10 months or so, have they proven themselves to be trustworthy people? Have they actually engaged in behaviors that would make you feel that if you were to ask them a question in the future, they would give you an honest, authentic reply? Again, The best predictor of future performance is past behavior, correct? So this is an important question to ask. Um, I don't feel like they have really, and there's a lot of examples for why I have that feeling. Um, I saw a video this morning while I was putting this live together, and I was actually pretty shocked. The live was, remember the kid that went missing in Austin? I'm sorry, not Austin, Corpus Christi. Uh, Tony Mathis was a part of looking for that kid. Remember, he was he was like a spokesperson for the father, the family of the missing teen college student. I was shocked to see this video, and here's the reason why. The video, the title of it was that Caleb Harris goes missing with no shoes on. And I thought, that is a peculiar coincidence. And so then I started looking again. And there's actual multiple videos that say Texas A&M student goes missing shoeless. And I was like, wow, that is so strange because I don't remember that being a point at the time that it happened. And yet here it was staring me in my face on my side, YouTube recommendations. We had Riley Strange who went missing about the same time that Sebastian did. I always sort of thought that maybe the missing shoe thing, oh, he's barefoot. I just thought it was a mistake that they overlooked this detail, and that when Seth walked in the door and said, well, there's all of his damn shoes, that Katie sort of scrambled and said, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about the shoes. Oh, well, he must have been barefoot. Now I look at this and I go, wait a minute, maybe we're wrong about that. Maybe this was more of a setup. That the cops were dealing with a missing kid in Corpus Christi, and it was so important that he had no shoes on that YouTube videos were being made that in the title it said shoeless college student goes missing 3 a.m. And I just sort of sat back for a minute and I thought, golly, that is really strange. Makes me feel something. You know what I mean? So then I thought, okay, well, we're back to Tony Mathis. I've not been, I think Tony Mathis may have interjected a bit of problem for Seth, but Seth is a grown man and he obviously is free and able to choose his friends. And it does appear that Tony Mathis has actually proven himself to be a very, very devoted friend, and that he is, in the end, has actually represented Seth very well. But it's still weird, still bothers me. And so then I would say, well, I don't know. Could I make a video about Seth lying? Like, could I make a video that would show where Seth's stories just blatantly change? What's the answer to that, guys? Can you guide me to a lie that Seth told? Because I can't come up with not one single example. Not one. Honestly, I can't. So then I thought, okay, well, what about Christopher Proudfoot? Can we come up with just one example where he lied? What is the answer? Internet. Mr. and Mrs. YouTube on the streets of YouTube. Can we come up with an example of when Christopher Proudfoot lied to us, to we the people? Oh my goodness. So many. We got over 100 people in here. I'm thinking we could come up with 100 different lies the poor guy told. You know what I mean? Yeah, Thomas Randall, take your pick. I mean, it's almost comical, right? I mean, it's a horrible, terrible, sad situation. But with Christopher Proudfoot in The Truth, it's just comical. It's just like he's just sort of like this comedy of errors. Every step he takes is just a misstep, and he just rolls around in all of his mistakes. It's just pitiful. I then moved on to Katie. Okay, can I find? Is there a place that we know for a fact that Katie lied to us? And the answer is yes, maybe. It's a little bit hard to say definitively yes, but perhaps. But it's hard to know if the lie came from her own free will or whether she was being manipulated by Christopher Proudfoot. So it's a little bit hard to parse that out. So that led me then to this episode, and this, I chose this particular lie that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Christopher Proudfoot told, but it also seems that Katie willingly involved herself in Christopher's lie rather than standing up with a backbone and speaking the truth with integrity, right? So that's why I chose this example. She lied about the picture of her and Chris at the bike shop. That is one lie. 100%. Yes, true. I also think she lied about the interview with Nancy Grace, that she said that she was looking at a photograph of Sebastian. That is a bald-faced lie. And the reason that I'm so confident saying that is because you can literally see her eyes moving in the characteristic pattern of someone that is reading text. So she can't really, I mean, it is what it is. Have any of you YouTubers been honest and trustworthy? The answer is no. Welcome, discombobulated confustication. Are you here for comedy relief? All right. Let's see. So she's following Macho Man, in my opinion. Who's Macho Man? I think the whole story of Sebastian's disappearance is a scripted lie. Yeah, I definitely think that perhaps a lot of the initial story was scripted. And I think that Gray Hughes's interactions with Christopher Proudfoot was convinced, possibly by Gray and or other YouTubers, that they should no longer speak at all online on the cameras and let the sycophants do the talking for he and Katie. And that is, in fact, what has been happening now for about the past 6 months or so. Until somebody talked about the fact that his truck was caught up in the geofencing warrant that was run the time of the crime, which we have reason to believe was 3 a.m., correct? So that is what made him uncomfortable and made him come up on Elevated Truth's channel and oopsie. But this is a different issue here. Have Katie and Christopher Proudfoot proven themselves to be honest and trustworthy people? Going on that old, well-supported, empirically supported statement, the best predictor of future performance is past behavior, right? And when someone shows you who they are, you must believe them. So I want to take a listen here, and let's see just how believable these two jokers are.
Like, I'm sorry, but once again, this goes right back to none of that has anything to do with Sebastian.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm not trying to create anything. I'm just trying to say that I absolutely understand how he's feeling, and I know out there, like, oh, look, he's soothing Chris's ego. Listen, I've talked to him. late night on a phone. He's just a normal dude trying to figure something out. That's how he sounds like. Now he's on here with, I've seen him on shows. Remember at the beginning, him and his wife would go on shows, and they were totally calm, talking, and they were normal. But everybody dissected every single word that they said, and everybody came up with a negative meaning for every single thing they
let
said.
me tell you what.
I'm not going to comment. I'm just going to let that go by. I thought I had started this earlier. Let's see what Trish says.
What happened? I can explain. Let me tell you. Chris, when you went on and talked about hitting Sebastian with a belt and kind of, just chuckling about it and how the social services or child protective services came to your door and apologized to you, that got people upset. It got people.
Yeah, and see, here's the whole problem with social services came up to the door. They apologized to Christopher Proudfoot. We're so sorry, Mr. Proudfoot, that we treated you with disrespect. Of course, Sebastian is a liar. Thank you so much, Mr. Proudfoot, for being so understanding. We appreciate it. And I'm going to have a good talking to with Sebastian. Tell him not to ever again report you for abuse. Okay, Christopher, you are a liar. That never happened because that is something a CPS worker would never do. Ever. They're there to investigate you, not the child. The fact that you speak with such hubris, it's literally nauseating, makes me sick when you say that y'all sat down to dinner and you looked at Sebastian and you said, see? See? What was that, Christopher? See, Sebastian, I told you nobody would believe you. You see, Sebastian, nobody's ever going to go against me. My mommy is a Bowersox. See, I told you you better not report because nobody was going to take your side. See? Because that is the kind of bullshit that a really unforgiving abuser says to their victims.
But right, let's clear that real quick.
Okay.
That needs to be cleared up because what was said and what people heard are two totally different things.
I heard you say you hit him with a belt.
Okay, so let me finish because that's the problem. When I go to make the statement, people want to interrupt and try to say, well, this and that. No, you wanted the answer. I'm giving you the answer.
You know, how many of you just have this powerful, powerful urge to just throw sand in his eyes? The man is absurd. Listen to this. It's absurd.
Now, when I answered that question, I told people, Sebastian got a spanking. He got one lick on his butt outside of his clothes. If somebody can tell me how that's abuse to a child, explain to me.
Can you confirm when that happened?
I don't. That was years ago.
I got spanked by a belt and wooden spoon by my mom for years.
What did he say? Years ago? Is that what he said?
I say, well, this and that. No, you wanted the answer. I'm giving you the answer. Now, when I answered that question, I told people, Sebastian got a spanking. He got one lick on his butt outside of his clothes. If somebody can tell me how that's abuse to a child, explain to me.
Can you confirm when that happened?
I don't. That was years ago.
I got spanked by a belt and wooden spoon by my mom for years.
So, but let's not sidetrack. Let's stay on board. Okay. So,
yeah, let's do that, Christopher. That was years ago. Years and years and years ago. But didn't he say something about hitting Sebastian with the belt and that Sebastian was an embarrassed 15-year-old? If you remember hearing that, put a 1. Just a little curious.
the question about the CPS thing that came up to play that everybody wants to tie to this belt is not what it was.
Okay.
Well, I think it was confusing because when you initially talked about it, you referred to him as an embarrassed 15-year-old. So
Yes, you did.
like it was years ago.
We thought it was like right recently.
Well, instead of asking for clarification,
Let's clear it up.
so as it stands, Sebastian went to school one day. He made a statement to a teacher. The teacher reports it to CPS. CPS comes to the house. That case has nothing to do with Sebastian getting spanked. That had everything to do with Sebastian didn't like being in trouble. So he thought by reporting it to a teacher, they were going to come to the house and they're going to take me out of the house and do this and do that. That is what the CPS case was about. And yes,
that's actually fairly amazing, Christopher. I work in the system. You know what I mean, big guy? I kind of understand it. I have actually threatened people before that they were going to end up on the 6 o'clock news if they didn't put their shoes on and get to that kid's house and do a welfare check and make sure that child was safe and okay. Because the CPS workers are overworked and they're weary and they have way too many cases going on. Like, way too many cases. Like, you got to understand this, Christopher. I'm not just talking about what I've heard about. I've stood beside a hospital bed with a badly, 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 badly injured child and fought to get CPS workers to respond properly. So your stupid ass little story is just nonsense. I mean, there's a ton of good people, really, really good people that work for the government. They work as therapists in the system. A lot of us. And we understand how overworked this system is. And you are asking this group of very intelligent people in the true crime community, you are asking them to believe that a teacher called and said, hey, Mr. and Ms. CPS, I got a kid here at my school, and he said that he's in trouble, and his stepdad said he's in trouble, and he don't want to be in trouble anymore, and we need you to do an investigation to see if he ought to be in trouble or not. I think you're a moron, Christopher. Like, I really actually question your level of intelligence that you believe people would believe that foolish tale. And then to go further and to say that that you tell these people, these intelligent human beings on this panel, you tell them Sebastian was trying to get me kicked out of the house. What a jerk. I told him it would never work. What? This is a kid that you were severely restricting his food. What in the world makes you think a kid who was getting beat down by you, who was being called horrible names on the regular, who had regressed because he was in so much anxious distress that he had to wear a pull-ups, you believe that this kid would have even I'm talking about a drop of confidence, courage to go to a teacher and report you with the hopes that you would be removed from the house? Let me explain something to you, Christopher Proudfoot. You are the monster. What you don't understand, Mr. Proudfoot, is that people that have been badly abused, whether it was abuse by a family member, perhaps a husband or a wife, people that have been brutalized and victimized by the trusted people in their lives, when they get older and they call and they make appointments to go talk to clinical psychologists about the problems they're having, they don't refer to you people as, oh, my victimizer or my abuser or my dad. No. You don't get any of those nice labels. You want to know what people like you are referred to? You guys, from the victim's mouth, you guys are called monsters. And they take ownership of you. They say, Well, my monster was my stepdad, or my monster was my husband. So it is laughable for you to say to these intelligent people in the true crime community that you completely annihilated this child's sense of safety. You stole his pets from him. You erased the pets from the face of the earth. Hell, you even went around and picked up his toys and his clothes and threw them into the trash can. According to Sebastian, you're the monster that takes everything he loves and destroys it. That's who you are, including maybe his own mother. So to say that he had even an ounce of courage or an ounce of confidence left that he could think his way to a point that he would go and make a false report against you with the goal being to have you removed from the home, that is a joke. You know who I think needs to man up, Mr. Proudfoot? I think you're the one having trouble manning up. I think you are the perpetual 5-year-old, that you hadn't been able to grow up and become a protective, calm, strong person. I think all you do is just vomit your emotions all over everyone. And unfortunately, all of your emotions are negative. So he says the belt incident was years ago. Katie says the belt incident was years ago. Let's see what they said on the Nancy Grace show. Let me get this shared. Hold on. Share the screen. Here we go. All right, so let's see what they have to say.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago.
Oh, excuse me, Katie. What'd you say, babe? Huh? What was that, honey? Years ago.
And it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He said, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes, one swat.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's.
Well, if it was such a big deal that you have to physically strike this kid with a weapon, don't you think it must have been like really bad? Or does Chris Proudfoot strike you as the kind of guy that gets excited to be able to dominate over someone weaker than he is? Maybe even be a kind of, kick the dog kind of fella.
Majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's like awkwardly socially like blending in with students.
Oh gosh, Christopher Proudfoot, mental giant, the psychologist, marriage counselor, child psychologist of the year. Remember how he sat there and he told all of us what to do, how to get kids to clean their room up, how to whip your wife into shape. Remember all that nonsense? He just sat here and said, oh, he's got some behavioral stuff. Nancy says, oh, okay, well, what kind of behavioral stuff? well, he's just having trouble blending in with the kids. You know, y'all excuse me a minute. Because right now, the Southern girl in me that all my friends know, that girl wants to yell at Christopher Proudfoot and say, Chris, you big dumbass. But that's not me anymore because now I'm an adult woman. I don't talk anymore like that. So I just say, Chris, even if you have trouble stopping lying, you could at least learn to stop speaking. You know, just say to yourself, I'm going to put my top teeth next to my bottom teeth, and then I'm going to hold them together real tight. At least that would help you. Because you see, Christopher, it is a much better thing for people to watch you and think, you know, I think Christopher Proudfoot may be a big old dumbass. That is better than you opening your mouth and removing any doubt they may have about that. So it's easier to find where you do lie. It's very difficult to find proof that you have told the truth.
So it's a little, he's trying to figure out how to do it, but respecting people's space, he gets a little too close.
It's not a behavioral problem, Christopher.
And then kids don't really accept that too much. So it kind of causes an issue. But he'll not stop and he continues on. So then it causes an issue. And instead of being honest about it, he'll lie. Like, no,
And so that's why you want to put him in, kid prison, because he violates personal space, because he doesn't understand the rules of social engagement. You believe that means that he should be imprisoned with little psychopath kids like you once were,
I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
And you know what?
Just about it. But he continues on.
You know what? I am so glad I got some self-control, because that old Southern girl, the one that rode horses all day long every day. I just about lost control of her just then. I'm going to have to move my eyes away from the screen when this person gets that smug, shit-eating grin on his face as he minimizes Sebastian as a human being. Your Duper's delight is, anybody on that police force that is friends with you, I'd love to ask them why. Like, even if you were really good friends with Proudfoot right up until the moment Sebastian disappeared, his behavior since then, you're not curious about all the lies?
So then it causes an issue, and instead of being honest about it, he'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
What? You take a look at Katie's face right there. Okay, Katie, I'm with you, girl. I'm feeling exactly what you're feeling right here in this moment. I know what you want to do to Christopher. Right here, I know what's going through your mind, and I would help you. This man, I can't believe that there is a self-respecting man that would even want to be this guy's friend. Sincerely, this is this.
We're lying about doing.
Was that the first
What was it? We're lying about what, Katie?
time? Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
Yes, ma'am. The one and only time, actually.
God damn.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
It probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. How were they alerted that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service call.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There was a CPS. That looks so good, doesn't it? There was a CPS. I don't know why I'm using past tense. It's an active, open investigation right now. The last filing was January 2024. Literally weeks before Sebastian went missing. Not months, weeks. It was an open, active investigation. Why? There are photographs of this child with an actual bruise around his neck that you can see the thumb. And look at their faces as they sit there. Look at their faces as they sit there and say, "Oh no, this is the only time it ever happened, and it was years ago." What? Imagine. Look at their faces. They just said, "Oh, that was years ago." Right here, this moment right here, there is an active, open CPS investigation, and there is a leak. Not anybody. Well, that is it. Okay, here's how I'm gonna say it. There's a leak. The bruise on Sebastian's neck has been verified. What is this guy doing? He's going to tell you that one swat with the belt on the buttocks on top of the blue jeans. The only time I ever did that. Well, I mean, I choked the hell out of him. I slapped him across the face. I kicked him in the back. But the only time I ever hit him with a belt was just one time years ago. But how is that possible if you said he was an embarrassed 15-year-old? Like, how is that? How do you reconcile that? The duper's delight is disgusting. And frankly, how this woman can sit here and listen to this man lie to Nancy Grace to her face and not just throw her hands up and say, "You know what? Stop the charade. Stop this. I want off. I don't want any part of this anymore. Here's what happened, Sebastian." I don't understand why. I don't know how she sits there and listens to the man.
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my ex-wife and myself.
What happened?
At the time, my ex-wife had fled to New Mexico with my daughter. We're going through a custody and a divorce case at that time.
Yeah, that's not exactly accurate, is it?
When I'd call and try to check in on my daughter, I could never reach my ex-wife at that time. So a welfare check was requested. Law enforcement told me to call CPS if I had concerns. So I called CPS. Law enforcement did make a welfare call, and that was it.
Then how does that turn into a CPS complaint against you?
I have no idea, ma'am. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now in regards to my New Mexico case that actually has no relevance to the Sebastian case.
Then was there even a CPS complaint against you in New Mexico?
Look at her face.
Not that I am aware of. And my attorney and myself are well educated on my case, and there's nothing that we know of.
Was there a TRO taken out against you regarding
Yes,
your daughter?
ma'am. Not a TRO, but a TPO.
A temporary protective order. Why was that taken out?
So in regards to that case, my ex-wife had a TPO put against her in Tennessee at the time.
I messed around so long that he moved his head. Hold on, let me see if I can get it back to where I want it. I hate that I did that. No, shoot. I'm having such a hard time making my videos being outside of my nest. I'm sorry. Okay, my battery's running down. I can't believe. Hold on. Yeah, that's kind of it. Hold on.
But the retention pond, yes.
Okay, that shows it. Okay, here's what I want you to look at. I believe that Katie and Christopher have their attorney inside their ear. Take a look at his ear right here. You see that? They must have their attorneys there that are telling them how to answer. Because he said, I had a temporary restraining order, and then you can tell he's kind of listening, and he stops and says, no, it's a TPO. Yeah? Well, why would they do that exactly? There was not, I mean, this was fairly early on, right? It's fairly early on. Why would they need their attorney sitting with them during an interview? What kind of attorney is it exactly? Is it a criminal attorney? I thought that was really, it's the first time I've ever noticed it. I watched this interview time and time again, but I got my touch screen computer. That means I can zoom real far in. Okay. So there's a touch hearing aid, not a hearing aid, but a earpiece. So someone's talking to him. Who else would it be besides an attorney?
Because law enforcement says the dogs did not hit. But Miss Proudfoot says they did hit around the retention pond.
So there's been a lot of miscommunication in regards to what is and what is not. To help clear that up, law enforcement has actually spoken directly with me, showed me a few things.
You're not the authority.
What I can tell you is from day one, there was 5 dogs that started the scent for the search. And then after that, from the next 8 days out from that, there have been dogs from all over the country that have come in and done searches and had scent hits in various locations. But I would say a certain percentage of them tend to go toward the same spot, which would have been a retention pond.
You interfered with those dogs. You stopped.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond.
That's
Is that
correct.
what you're saying?
That's correct.
No, I'm saying they did. There was at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
No, they did not.
And the pond has been drained, correct? And there was nothing there.
Yes, ma'am. They have walked it, drained it, and there's nothing. The retention pond was only knee deep anyways.
Look at Katie's face. She looks like she wants to vomit.
On one occasion, Mr. Proudfoot, you stated that you and Mrs. Proudfoot have been, quote, vetted and cleared of foul play. That was stated on Chronicles of Olivia. Is that true? What do you mean by that?
Yes. So after
Look
working
at
with
her.
law
Look at her
enforcement
face.
of all agencies,
Unbelievable.
they have actually told us that there is no foul play, no nefarious issues. We've been cleared of all wrongdoing. We are working extremely cooperative with all law enforcement agencies at any point in time that they've called, come to the house, anything.
Oh, wow. That is unfortunate,
Was
Christopher.
Sebastian
That is so unfortunate for you that your truck got caught in that geofence test, didn't it? That is, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Not.
angry or upset before he disappeared?
No, ma'am.
Not to my knowledge.
What is your theory about where is Sebastian?
I wish I knew where he was, to be honest.
Your theory.
I think it's possible that someone has my son,
Why?
because I feel like if he had been close to the house or had walked off, that we would found him by now with as many people as we had searching.
Have you checked his social media?
He doesn't have social media.
Have you checked his phone?
His phone has been thoroughly checked. Yes, ma'am.
Have you handed your phones to police, both of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Has police searched all of your devices, your laptop, your iPad, everything?
Everything. Yes, ma'am.
Other than you, Miss Proudfoot, who is the last person that saw or heard Sebastian alive the Sunday before he went missing?
Two of his aunts, a cousin, and the staff where we had dinner.
What about the green hoodie man? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm so foolish. The green hoodie woman. Isn't that right? SF investigates, to you little liar. Okay. So, again, the stories that Christopher Proudfoot tells about the belt actually match up with the CPS case that was opened in January of 2024. Few weeks, like less than 2 weeks from when Sebastian went, or no, 3 weeks from when Sebastian went missing. So KP changed her narrative from the first few interviews. First, she insisted he walked out. Yeah. Voice IP info given to law enforcement. So I think that just these two little snippets from two completely different interviews that were literally weeks apart in time show us these people are lying like with impunity. Just, oh, so the grass in the yard is green. No, the grass out there would be purple. And the reason that I believe it's purple is because you're stupid and I'm right and it's purple. That is the depth of their answers. And the fact that this guy does an interview with Nancy Grace and he needs an attorney in his ear. Why? And the fact that he would sit there 8 months ago and say, we have been vetted, we have been cleared, there is no foul play. Oh, okay, Christopher. So why is there a criminal investigation? Because our FOIA requests are being kicked back saying, sorry, the subject of your FOIA inquiry is the product of a criminal investigation and, you can't have it. Why is that, Christopher? Why do you think it is? Seth has gone public. He has new faith in law enforcement, Christopher. That is very strange. And again, I guess that those dumb MFers did know that it was your truck. Isn't that right? So just keep watching. Keep going back through the old interviews. Keep an eye out for what's being said and the looks on their faces. There's little nuggets of Sebastian's truth all through these videos. And yet, Cheesy Wheezy and the girls, all they care about is keeping their blinders on and continuing like little robots to say, poor Chris, poor Katie, they're so mistreated. They can't even stop to open their mind and consider in a logical way what the truth might actually be. And I think it's terrible. I really do. All right. Let's see. Raw Beanie. What would you think? Let me see what Raw Beanie said. Hang on. Where Raw Beanie, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Raw Beanie, thank you. Katie, in my opinion, is likely to be a victim of his abuse. Oh, Wiley. I would sit on your team. Yes. I'm on the Willie team or the Wiley team. Definitely. I won't change my mind though that he is as guilty as she. May God bless this child and keep him. Well, I think the lesson from Charlie Adelson's case is, just because you weren't at the scene when the person passed, just because you're not the one that pulled the trigger, metaphorically speaking, conspiracy to commit murder is exactly the same as murder. He's serving life in prison. He was hundreds of miles away. He had no idea when they actually did it or how they did it. So, and yet he's actually serving more time than the guy that drove the getaway car with the trigger man in it. So it doesn't matter if Christopher is just like the hounds of hell. It doesn't matter if he's the gatekeeper. That it won't matter according to the law. And that's what will guide the end stages of an investigation, will be the particular statutes and charging documents. And, conspiracy to commit murder is the same as murder. And that's that. I've watched a million videos of cops busting parent stories in an interview room. Whoops, I lost you. And some of them seem way more credible than this pair. Oh, misery index. Don't you want to see those interrogation videos? Like, sincerely. And I'm talking about the interrogation of Seth Rogers, the interrogation of Christopher, the interrogation of Seth's mother, the proud socks. I'm sorry, the proud feet, and the holy socks. Don't you want to sit and just hang on every word? It's just absolutely incredible. Really, it's really incredible. And again, I do feel like I need to put out that little bit of information and remind you guys, I'm a nobody in this case. I'm an observer. I'm on the sidelines. I'm watching these interviews just like you are. I'm listening to the newscasters, the talking heads, just like you guys are. And I'm forming my own opinions. Anything that I say on this channel is 100% my opinion only, based on my own speculation. Everybody in this country, this nation, is presumed innocent in a court of law until proven guilty by a jury of their peers. And that means that Christopher Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot are innocent of any wrongdoing. If she's innocent, somebody's waiting at her vehicle when she exits Texas Roadhouse, but she doesn't mention it. Exactly, Thomas Randall. And here's the thing. The reality is that the green hoodie lady, isn't that right, SF Investigation, big fat liar? What do you mean? Oh, it's an elderly man. It was an old man in a green hoodie. He couldn't see very good. He couldn't walk very good either. He didn't see Katie was fixing to walk between the cars. Well, unfortunately for you, SF, there was actual video. So we saw the truth. And it wasn't a man, even though your girl, Katie, is the one who said it was a man. Now, why would she do that, SF? Riddle me that. Makes absolutely no sense to me. And I do believe that she handed this woman something. And perhaps I've heard some people say maybe it was like a thumb drive. I had other people say maybe it was something like documents or a letter or something. You know what I thought? Maybe it's money. Maybe she just handed the old lady some money. I don't know. The interaction could have definitely been just really innocent and unconnected. But Katie, you're the one that caused the problem by hiding the lady in the green hoodie, by saying the last people that saw Sebastian, you intentionally left out a woman who literally saw him at Texas Roadhouse and waved at him. Now, why in the world would you do that? And that's what's driving this, Katie. Every time you guys get caught in lies, then people like me say, okay, we know there's a lie. Now, why would they have lied? You guys have made this very, very shady. You and the guy sitting next to you with the little microphone in his ear, or the little speaker in his ear, you guys did this. You did it by the lies, the disinformation. You intentionally misled people. And now you're up to it in your eyeballs. You got the FBI, you got the Secret Service in on this. Good luck, guys. I have no doubt in my mind, one day we are all going to be sitting around reading FOIA documents, watching interrogation videos. And I do hope that one day that Sebastian will be brought home, that he is absolutely alive and being taken care of by a family member or a friend of the family. That is my deepest, deepest hope. And that would be a fine Christmas present, Ginger, for both Seth and Sebastian if he were returned during this Christmas season. No doubt. All right. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I apologize. I know when I get irritated with some of these people, sometimes, I forget myself. That's what my mama used to say. Honey, don't forget yourself. And that meant, hey, straighten up and fly right. All right. So I got to keep me in line here. Okay. I hope if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. I don't have a regular upload schedule. So I work a full-time job. So I kind of have to take time, when I get it to post my videos. So if you subscribe, then at least you'll get a notification that I have something new that has been uploaded. I also hope that you will hit the thumbs up as well as leave a comment under the video. That will prompt the algorithm to share out my video to more people. And frankly, I believe that these are super important issues. Mob Crew is over there. He is doing his best to call out the manipulation. He's doing his best to keep everybody focused on what is actual fact. And in my own little way, I'm trying to do the same way, a little bit differently. And that is to show where we know that they changed their story or just blatantly lied. So we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, January 2024, there was a CPS case opened. Sebastian is the victim. Christopher Proudfoot is the perpetrator. And yes, Katie's name is mentioned not as a perpetrator, but like an enabler of the abuse. It was open when he went missing. We also it's okay. Let me see how to say this. There is reason to believe that Sebastian was asked to to do a deposition in the custody case regarding Faith, or the visitation for Faith. And this, just like with Summer Wells, the day before that was supposed to take place, he went missing. Just like Summer Wells was actually being removed from the home of the Wells. CPS was supposed to come the very next day and remove her from the home and put her into foster care. And she went missing before that happened. Why does that matter? Because it stopped her from telling the truth about what they were doing to her. All right. It's very dark. And I do try at times, I do try to use humor and try to, when it's palatable, right? I mean, I can make fun of Christopher. I can't bring myself to do the same with Katie. She's been very quiet. Anytime she has spoken, I think she's conducted herself with dignity. That is not true with Christopher Proudfoot. He has gotten up on panel after panel and acted like a clown and was one of the most offensive, misogynistic people that I've ever heard speak, both online and in real life. And it's very easy to turn him into a cartoon character. And certainly all we can hope for is that the cops know where Sebastian is and that they're able to get him home by Christmas. That would be prayers answered of all of us that are involved in the YouTube stuff. All right, I have a little visitor coming to see me, so I'm going to have to go. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back to reveal another lie, a little troll, but she's lovely. You should see her. She is as cute as they come. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.